I'm in Texas at the Positive Education Accelerator. I was at a talk now that was so interesting with Laurie Santos. She's from Yale, and she talked about a class that she just started, and it is a success. More than 1,000 people is attending to her class, and the name of the course is Psychology and the Good Life. Check it out. I'm very happy to have Laurie Santos here with me. She's from Yale University, and we are here at the Positive Education Accelerator in Texas. And I want to ask her, what is the message that you want to send to educators, and I mean teachers, educators, as anyone that could, have and give a guidance for, to young people? It doesn't have to be just teachers, but what is the message that you could send to them?
Yeah, and so today I talked about my course that I taught at Yale that I just started called Psychology and the Good Life. And it started just as an attempt to teach students a little bit about positive psychology, but it wound up turning into the largest course ever in Yale's 300-year history, with 1 out of every 4 students taking the class. So this was a bit of a crazy experience, very tricky to organize and stuff. But I think the message is that if you put content together that's going to help students, there's a real need there. There's a real craving. Students really want to learn both about the science of this work, the science of well-being and what makes them happier, but they also want to learn about how to practice that. And if you give them the opportunity to do that, they'll take that opportunity and run with it.
It's amazing how you put this together, and the principles, the insights that are very important for the students. You said that it's not such a difficult course, but it is difficult in a different way. Can you expand on that, please?
Yeah, and so the typical part of the course where students are just taking their midterm and their final paper, I mean, that's, it's a Yale course. It's not super easy, but it's not that hard. In class, we talk about how the hardest part is putting those principles into practice. To really believe the science, it says that you can't just learn about these findings. You have to experience gratitude. You have to take time to meditate. You have to take time to make social connection. And it's hard work. That's what the research suggests. But it's work that's worth it. And so the students joke that the class was the hardest class at Yale, which I found very funny, but I think that meant that they took the message to heart, that they were really thinking that to do the work to really feel better, it takes some hard work.
Yes, and what you've experienced, you have students here, right? And when you start a project like this, that it's was something new at Yale, right? You were expecting, to be in a new course. What is the average of the quantity of students in a new course?
Yeah, so I expected maybe 40 or 50 students. We had no idea that it would turn into over 1,000 students, or the largest class ever at Yale. That was completely unexpected.
And you kept this project going, and it's brand new, right? It started in January 2018.
Yeah, that's right. We just started this past semester, and in one semester, it turned into the largest class ever at Yale. We also decided, since there was so much interest, to put the class online. And so we created a shorter version of the course on Coursera.org that any learner in the world can take. It's called The Science of Well-Being on Coursera.
That's a great opportunity, especially, for people that don't have the chance to go to a great university like Yale, that you're, having this for anyone that is interested in being happier and having, and especially young people. Can you give me some numbers about, the how, because when we go to school, when I remember, we expect school to be something really spectacular, something that we would, you put on the slides there, pictures of life in a university at Google, so everyone is happy, having fun, smiling, studying. But when they get to school, it's not really what happens. Can you give me some numbers in that subject, please?
Yeah, so we have numbers. I know the ones from the United States, but from the last National College Health Survey, you find that over 30% of students report being too depressed to function. Just over 50% say they feel lonely a lot of the time. Over 80% feel overwhelmed. Over 60% feel anxious a lot of the time. And so these are really striking numbers. You know, they're saying that we have a huge mental health crisis on college campuses, and that means we're failing in our educational mission. How can these students be learning all the things we want them to learn when a third of them are too depressed to function? And so we designed the course because I really wanted to do something about this. I realized that it was important for our educational mission and just, you know, to kind of have college be what we want it to be, that students could do better, that they could learn some healthy practices to increase their well-being.
And can you see some results already from your course?
Yeah, so the sad thing is because we thought the course was going to be small, we didn't do a lot of the data collection that as a scientist I would want to do. You know, when we thought it was 40 people, you know, that's not really enough for a big study on whether the course is working. And so I'm kind of kicking myself like, oh, why didn't I think to do that? But now on Coursera, we're taking data before and after to actually look at happiness levels, to look at well-being and so on. What we heard anecdotally from the students is that the class really seemed to change people's lives. You know, students who did these practices really expressed getting great improvements in their well-being, which is really exciting.
And at Coursera, you have students from all over the world, right?
That's correct. So it's 168 different countries and over 130,000 learners. And you'll be happy to know, I think Brazil is the 5th largest population that we have on the site.
So this goes to Brazil, that you can take a course at Yale. I mean, I feel like when I started, I had my certification with Tal Ben-Shahar. Do you know him? Yeah. So he started a small course at Harvard, also
Also very popular at Harvard at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and he thought that it would be small, and at that time it was really small in the beginning. So I think that times are changing, that when you start in this 2018, I'm not really sure about the date that Tal started his course at Harvard
2006 was one of the last times it was taught, so just over a decade ago. But I think we're in a different position now. College mental health is really in a crisis at this point, and so I think we need more classes like this. I think we need more college professors, more teachers, even in high school and earlier, for younger students to think about this content and how they can help students with it.
Yeah, and I hope that's going to spread around all the curriculum of schools, and from kids, kindergarten to through college, and I'm sure that we are movers and shakers here.
Let's hope so. Let's hope we can kind of bring the excitement of positive education to the rest of the world.
Yeah, so thank you. And I was telling you about the experience with Tal. So when I started to get to know positive psychology, I watched some of Tal's lessons, courses on YouTube. So I went to my office that I have a TV, and I brought a notebook, and I said, I'm going to Harvard. So people can go to Yale also.
Go to Yale, and you don't have to have all the skills to get in, and you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay the tuition. It's totally free online.
That's good. Thank you so much for having this. It's available for everyone. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you, and congratulations for your work, Laurie.
Thanks so much for having me on your channel. Thanks.